What's up, everybody? It's Joey Joint here with Joint Perspectives. I'm again sitting in my hotel room in Denver, Colorado. I actually want to go ahead and touch on a subject that's it kind of has a fire in me right now, hence why I kind of feel so worked up about it. But the reason being is, so I was on TikTok, right? And I'm scrolling through, and I have a separate account that's kind of more of an under account so that I can feel more comfortable, which I'm going to be making public. I'm going to be making it public is what I'm deciding. But on this account, I get a lot of videos on my For You page of police and traffic stops and cops brutality. Now, mind you, I am not against policemen. Okay, I'm not anywhere like that. I grew up with a military family. My mom was in ROTC. I had a grandfather who was in the Marines. My uncle was in the Army. My grandpa was also in the Army. So I mean, having structure and military discipline in my family has always been very frowned upon. Has been very like. What's that word? I can't even think of it, but it's been something that we've always looked at, those rules, those things that you have to set by, right? Well, the thing that bugs me is police entitlement, okay? And I feel like many people relate with me on this, as people, when we get pulled over, we're ready to get nervous. For the simple fact of everything we've been seeing. Now, I'm going to share a story about something that's happened to me that has given me this, and seeing this has kind of upset me. But the one thing I seen was this gentleman, okay? And he gets pulled over. He has his camera in there, and the guy pulls him over. The cop comes up the window. He's like, hey. He's like, I pulled you over because you have no license plate in the front, and your window is very, too dark. And so he's like, okay. He's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, he gives him his stuff, and he gives him his driver's license, insurance. He's like, I have no warrants. I'm fine. I run a business. He's not, nothing crazy like that, right? And it's a Mexican fellow, and he could have been Puerto Rican or whatever. He's a Latino fellow, and he's sitting there and he's complying with the officers, and they're like, okay, da 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 da. And he goes and he's checking the credentials. Well, there was a woman officer there, and he's talking to her, and he's like, is this how you treat everybody? Like, they were pretty like, they're pretty strict, and like, dude, like, you got to do this, make sure you're complying with me, don't do this, roll down that window, da da da, being very enforceful. And for police, those main jobs to serve and protect, the people, not enforce it as if though it's a dictatorship, right? So he makes the joke. What is this, like Nazi Germany? Like, are we back in like Nazi Germany? Is that how this is? And he's, the cop, the lady cop kind of just like looked at him, didn't say nothing, right? And so he just sat there, and she goes, and the guy comes back with his stuff, gives him the credentials, and she pulls him aside. She's like, hey, I want to talk to you quick. And so she pulls the other officer aside, and you can hear them. They're right there in front of the window talking. And the lady's literally saying, he's very nervous. I don't like how nervous he is. And it's making me very uncomfortable. I feel as though we should detain him and calm him down and verify. One thing that this guy did was, he's sitting there, and they were complying. They asked, do you have any weapons in the vehicle? And he said, yes. He says, it is in the trunk. I have a Smith & Wesson that is in my name. I have the right to carry it, since he has his registration and stuff. Well, in my head, he could have easily been like, hey, I'm going to pop the trunk so you guys can verify that it's in there and not inside the vehicle. And then you guys can go ahead and we can continue the traffic stop accordingly, so that they know they're safe. They know where they know where the gun is. They don't have to do anything of panic, right? Well, during this process, so the male cop is like, okay, well, I guess, we're going to detain him just, for our safety, make sure. So he goes and he's like, hey, I want to detain you for our safety. And the guy immediately asks, like anybody would, can I see a supervisor? Because he doesn't feel as though he's being wrongfully, he's not doing anything wrong. He's complying with the officers. He let them know about the weapon. He could have easily just popped the truck and said, hey, you can go look, it's back there. I'm not going to do anything. My hands will stay 10 and 2, go upon the way. And as he's going, he's asking that. Of course, he's getting a little upset, but he's not being aggressive. He's not making no fast moves. Vocally, he's just like, come on, man. He's like, what? He's like, I want your supervisor. And the cop wouldn't even radio him on his radio to let him know, like, okay, a supervisor coming, and then proceeded with detaining him. Instead, he was like, no. He's like, I'll call him after. Just get out of the vehicle, and we'll do it that way. And he's like, well, no, I want to hear you, call in so that you can detain him, and so that I know that he's coming, right? The lady cop, who's sitting right behind him, pulls the gun right on him. Get the fuck out of the vehicle. She's like, I'm done playing this. I'm not doing this with you. And automatically, anybody who gets a gun pulled on him, unless you're used to it, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, okay. They're like, put your hands on your head. He puts his hand on his head. They're like, take your right hand and, unbuckle the seatbelt. So that's what he does. He goes slowly, unbuckles it. And he's just like, man, this is some crazy shit, man. He's like, I hope you treat white people the same way like this. And they pulled him out of the vehicle, and that was all the video showed, right? So I honestly don't even know what happened. If they detained him, what if they went to jail, I couldn't find the rest of the video. But seeing that made me very upset because I've been in that position. In my little town of 1,000 people, having the tattoos that I have, I am an outcast automatically, okay? Everybody in my town really knows who I am, and if you're watching this, you know better than anything, right? Well, I have been pulled over on 8 occasions, okay, throughout my lifetime of driving. I've been driving since 16. I'm 24 years old. It's about 10 years, and I've been pulled over 8 different times. I've been arrested one of them, and I have been searched all 8 occasions. Okay, not once did they find something. And the reason I went to jail that one night was because I admitted that I had something, because I there's no way I'm a man of my word. I'm an honest man. If I can't see a way out of it, I'm gonna be straight up with it. And I was. And he said, hey, I gotta be straight up with you too. I gotta detain you. I sat in holding cell for about 8 hours. That's about it. And then he let me go. And it was whatever, right? I complied. We did our way. And say we went upon it. But the point of what I'm trying to make is, out of those 8 times, they all searched me, and they couldn't give me a logical reason why they searched. Now, mind you, I don't ever deny a search, because to me, it's just too problematic. I'd rather just have you search it, because I know you're not going to find it if I do have anything in the vehicle. Because if I had any confidence that I wasn't hiding it, or if I was hiding it, I would tell you, because it's that simple. I'm not going to go around beating the bush. I've learned in this life it's better to be brutally honest than to sit back and hold your thoughts. So, upon this way, on one of those occasions, I think it was the second time I got pulled over. I didn't have all these tattoos. I think if I remember straight, I just had this main one, which is my very first one. Pulled me over, and the moment he comes to the window, I roll down. He has his gun already in his hand like this, pointed down. He goes, sir, do you have any weapons in the vehicle? I said, no. He said, sir, can you put your hands at 10 and 2? I said, yeah. I turned and looked. I said, yeah, definitely. I put my hands up there, and I did not move them. He goes, sir, do you understand why I'm stopping you? I said, I do not. He says, yeah, I'm stopping you because you're a reckless driver, and I don't know what's going on inside the vehicle, and I want to make sure I'm safe, which completely understandable. Whatever the reason was, I'm not going to sit there, right? But my point is, no matter what, you should pull a taser first before a gun. They have a taser for a reason. When you pull a gun, you're using a lot more lethal force to be like, hey, you're going to do what I say whether you want to or not, because I will kill you over not agreeing with what I want, which is horrible. As cops, they should have a neutral perspective and not a dominating factor of being like, no, I enforce the law. I am the law. I am the person. And it's so messed up, because I know in the county I live in, it's exactly like that. All the cops like that. I met one cop in that area. His name is Eric. And he was the best cop there was, because he would teach me. He wouldn't just belittle me. He'd be like, hey, Joe, how's it going? Let me explain to you why I'm doing this and what the reason is. And he would every time I ever got pulled over, I would ask for him specifically, because I knew he was going to treat me with respect like every other person, which is amazing, because he was a wonderful dude. And it sucks because he's retiring, and now we got this new young kid who he's a dick. He was taking women into the back and into the police department area in my hometown, and fondling them because hey, I'm I can get you out of this. I have a form of power, right? And now this guy's trying to run to be the main what's that called? The chief of police of the town. And the reason I know this is because it was he tried doing it to my own sister. And she came and told me, right? So to me, it's crazy, because it's people don't think that it's something that can actually happen, especially in this area, because you have all these young white gentlemen and all these people who are settled in this way, who their names are literally connected to the whole neighborhood of the town. If you do not have a last name, you couldn't play sports. If you didn't have this, you couldn't do this. If you don't have this, nobody would look at you, because your name was not part of being in that area. You did not help build it, and that's the sucky part about it. Is that if you're not from there, they judge you so harshly. And that's literally like policemen, right? Police will judge you no matter what, as harsh as you are, because they feel as if though they are an outstander. So they do get aggressive, and I can understand that. But they also need to understand, when you go into this business, it is meant to serve and protect, not to enforce and kill in that action. Now, mind you, it is to serve and protect through enforcement of an extent. They're enforcing the law, right? But they do not have to use physical force to enforce the law. Hence why you have a taser, and hence why you have a gun. Okay? That taser can do a lot more damage than what people think. And if you ever got tased, you know damn well what I'm talking about, because it'll send you shocks through your air. You'll piss your pants, shit yourself if you're holding anything in, no matter what, right? And now, mind you, there's people out there who have a high tolerance that I've seen take it. And now, mind you, in that case, it escalates, okay? You took step one, the shock, the thing doesn't work, he's still resisting arrest. Okay, bam, now you go to the gun. You can use physical and more, dominant enforcement. the whole point of this video is to show that there is such a stigma around policemen, right? People are afraid to talk about it because, oh my God, the police, they can arrest me, they can do this, they can do that, right? Hell, fuck that. It shouldn't matter. If I gotta sit in jail because, hey, I ended up calling a cop out on his shit, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And the thing that really bugs me is I seen another video, right? I scrolled to my next video. And it's this lady, right? This cop, she posted a TikTok in her uniform saying, hey, if you're on the freeway and you're driving and you see me behind you, just move out of the way. Because I can go 90 and you can't. Because I can go 90 and you're not allowed to. You know how entitled that is to be like, hey, because I'm a cop, I can go as fast as I want. What the actual fuck? Like, why do we allow people in our society to think like that? And if you think like that, you are in the wrong position to have that. You shouldn't have that much power to be that entitled. And that is, and once again, I comply with policemen. I'm friends with police. I'm everything. But I've seen a lot of corrupt things in my life, from being in LA to the small ass towns. I have seen corruptness to the extent of seeing people get dragged on the street and beat up by cops. I've seen it to the extent of stereotypical because, hey, they pulled me over because I'm a Mexican with tattoos. Even now, with my tattoos, every time I get pulled over, I am so paranoid. I keep my hands at 10 and 2 no matter what, and I do not make no fast motions, and I describe everything I'm going to do before I do it so the cop has no reason. And at this point, now I have a camera, I have my phone set up, and every time I planned, every time I get pulled over, I am now going to have that camera running. Because not only is it for my protection, but it's for their protection, it's for everybody's protection, right? And I understand they got body cams, but I'm sorry to say it, I've lived in enough corrupt worlds to know that you can go around body cams, you can cover it up, you can do whatever the hell you want and still get away with it. You know why? Because police have this entitlement. It should be brought down on this aspect. And that lady who said that, apparently she only got suspended without pay for one shift for like 10 hours. So that means she's back on the street telling people to move the hell over, and she literally stated, oh, I can find any reason to pull you over. Okay, so that's right to do, just to find a reason, just fuck it. That only fills in the more of the stereotypical saying cops have a quota to make, which they do, damn right they do, because this society is all ran through that whole system, not just that, through the education system, because that is where they get the most benefit from of it all. And it really bugs the shit out of me, because I grew up in this I lived in this small town, and I've been growing up in it for a while. And even though I came here at a young age, they still didn't accept me as one of their own. They still put a label on me. They still know, oh, that's Joe. Oh, that's Joe. Oh, man, I remember one time I was walking out of the store, Maynard's in Tyler, Minnesota, and they thought I stole something. So she chased me out the door, made me empty my pockets right down the middle of the street to prove that I didn't steal nothing. I didn't have nothing to hide, so that's why I did it. I literally almost stripped down and said, look, I ain't got shit. And that's the point that irritates me, is because no matter what you do in life, and I'm trying hard to be a structured member of society. I come from a family of gangbanger thugs, and that's just what it was. And I could have easily stayed in that route and go down there. Instead, I am choosing to be a different path. Hence why I dress with a suit and tie now. I dress differently. I talk differently. I act differently. But it's because I've had to learn through societies that you have to, I call it code switching. You have to adjust yourself to the people that you meet across, whether it's a police officer, whether it's another gentleman from a hood, or whether it's a businessman that you're trying to impress and make an impression on. And so you change your persona on it so that you can better fit them. It shouldn't have to be that way. In society, we should be able to be who we are and what we want to be at no cost of because somebody judges you. And that's the whole point. You shouldn't feel the judgment of having someone else tell you something. But the thing is being able to tolerate certain stuff to get that better advancement in life, because unfortunately, that's the only way you can achieve success in societies nowadays. It's so sad on how downhill our society has gotten with police brutality and different aspects. Now, once again, I am not against police. I am all for the good policemen, the ones who give people a shot, give people a chance, and not necessarily so trigger happy, so scared. And I understand it, because look, see this one right here? Look, sorry, it's backwards, but it says Free Los Tres. And the reason I got it like that is that's part of my family. It's part of my family's history. Free Los Tres was all about trying to stop the drug movement in East LA. And my uncle was a part of it, and they wrongfully arrested him. They planted drugs on him, and they had to sit in trial. They had to sit in fucking county jail about everything to go through it all. And it wasn't even settled until, like I say, he sat for a while until the movement started, and all the Chicano people and my family and everybody was starting to make statements on saying free los tres, saying free the three. And because there was 3 of them that were wrongfully committed of a crime that they did not do. And that's another sign of showing police brutality. Tupac talks about it all the time. Tupac got beat up for jaywalking. For fucking jaywalking. Because he didn't want to listen. Now, mind you, back then it's a different story. There's a lot more racism. The point I'm trying to make is we have to go past this point. Maybe that needs to be a new system to teach these police people on how not to have a trigger happy finger. Maybe have an anxiety class, or maybe whatever it may be. But trying to find a different structure to help benefit not just these 1% people, these white people, these rich people, whatever it may be, but to help the everyday person, like that young gentleman living in East LA who's going to get beat up by the cop just because he was walking on the wrong street at the wrong time, or because he just said the wrong thing. They're not the same. The cop doesn't treat the 2 people the same because he looks here, sees a successful white male, he's a successful white person, so whatever it may be, a successful person gives them benefit of doubt. Then you see this person who's trying to be successful, trying to be the best he can, but no one wants to give him a shot, no one wants to give him a chance, because for the simple aspect of where he came from and how the society around him made him be. So instead, they put a marker on this guy, right? And they say that's the one we need to get in our prison system because that's where we're going to make money in. It's such a messed up society that we live in, and we can't live like that. We need to find change. We need to find a different perspective on things. And that is another point of why I want this podcast to make it as big as I'm planning to make it. And I thank you for everybody for the support, and I hope you guys know that you guys can tell me anything that you feel on any of these matters, because I want to help change perspectives. I want to help give the people their voice back in the aspect of not feeling so trapped. Not feeling so like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, because it's not the way we were made, or it's the way society has trained us to think, but it's not the way we should be. This video starting getting like 17 minutes. I can go on and on probably about this forever because of the shit that I've been through. My whole point about this is hopefully a police officer can see this, and hopefully they see how much it can affect somebody on the aspects of not even feeling like they did anything. And hopefully it can give them a better perspective on not maybe pulling the gun so quickly on the next person, or maybe going towards the taser instead of a gun to actually detain the person who is resisting arrest. Not just because I am the master and you have to listen to what I say. That is so stupid and so ignorant. The point of entitlement is so sick. It's a sick disease. It's as good as laziness. Entitlement is as good as laziness. And laziness is a disease. And entitlement is another one right after it that comes with it. Because they're so lazy, they don't feel anymore. They feel as if they've done everything. So that's how you get lazy. Then you get this point of entitlement because you're like, oh, I did this, I did that. Yeah, I'm okay now. No, fuck that, man. It ain't right. It ain't right. I'm sorry for the language. But no matter what, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. This is Joey Joint with Joint Perspectives, and this video is all about police brutality. And once again, please don't be afraid to comment, hit me up on any questions you have, or maybe on your point of view on the topic. Definitely on that aspect, I would be more than willing to talk about. Once again, it's Joey Joint Perspective. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You guys have a great day.